This episode is brought to you by Beyond Pride. When you advertise with First Nations, make sure you advertise with pride. That's www.beyondpride.com. Pride spelled PRYDE.com. All right, Sego, everyone. You are tuned into episode 3 of The Creators Game, the podcast. I'm Deya Miller, and I'm joined by
Jay Smith.
And we have a special guest, and I am so happy this guy is here. I've known this guy for a long time. We have Warren Hill.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Nice to catch up again, Deya.
Nice to see you. It's been years, but we've always kept in touch.
Yeah, for sure. Right from what? Probably grade 3, 4 to now.
Holy man, it's been years. It's been years. So let's get right into it. I want to start the very beginning of lacrosse for you because we all know professional lacrosse player, NLL. You know, you got all the accolades in the world. Did you ever think that you didn't want to be a goalie? Maybe you wanted to be a player.
For sure. I wanted to score goals. I wanted to score goals when I was younger. The way it came about being a goalie, I have 2 versions of the story.
And I've heard both of them, so I want to hear them.
So first version comes from my mom. Our team didn't have a goalie. I offered to go in net, and she went to buy the pads, and she said they were so expensive. Like, no, you're staying in net until you grow out of them. That's her version of the story. The other version I heard comes from Randy Stott's dad, Diggins, Marty, who basically said, you're not making this team unless you go in net. You can't run, you can't catch, go put the pads on. So I like to think that was my mom's. I think I would have been better than Randy. Maybe that was Diggins' way of keeping me off the score sheet or something. But no, it's good. I'm glad I stuck with it, and it's a lot of fun.
I think we're all glad that you stuck with it. And shout out to Cheryl for that because that was a golden move right there. You know how expensive pads are? Like, I know you didn't know at that age.
No, it's ridiculous now. Yeah.
Now you do.
No, like I remember growing up, like I got hand-me-down, so I was lucky enough to get some off the older guys. I remember cherishing like a pair of Ken Montour Monsters leg pads. But I remember like the old days, Jay probably knows this, you threw on the hockey chest protector, football shoulder pads, and whatever you could fill up. Like I remember going through my uncle's old equipment and just padding up, but that was the way it was, and now it's thousands of dollars. So she was probably mad over a couple $100, but today is ridiculous. But yeah.
Yeah, but look at you now, though, right?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and glad for it.
You want to be a player before because you've obviously wanted to score goals. Now you have scored a goal before.
False.
You haven't?
I've never scored a goal, not in a legit game, anyways. Like just like practice or tryouts or something. But no, that has eluded me so far, and I want to be able to do it one day.
So it looks like Dougie's got you up one.
Yeah, Dougie, Rosie, that Nick the Mood, I think has 3. Like, I don't know what I got to do, but it's going to come. It's going to come.
So you went to Hill Academy. You went to Hagersville, Hill Academy, and then where'd you go after that?
After that, did a stint at McMaster. Just classic, like, didn't take it seriously, flunked out, unfortunately, and ended up having to do 2 years at OCC, which was great. Love Chuck Wilbur, Chris Brim, Nick Gatto, those guys over there. They kind of showed me the path, and that led to Syracuse, where I was fortunate enough to play under Coach Desko, Kevin Donahue. It was a lot of fun.
What about your in Six Nations minor lacrosse? Like, what are something that you learned in Six Nations minor lacrosse that definitely took you to the next level? Because I know you went to Hill Academy, but some of that Six Nations minor lacrosse definitely had to be instilled in you.
No, I think it's just the competitive nature down here. Like it's said all the time, like we're an A center. That's competitive lacrosse, and I think that's right from your paperweight novice to junior. Like we're in it, and I think that's something that helped prepare me for the next level and to go to school, and also being able to compete with the likes of Orangeville, Whitby, Halton Hills. I ended up eventually going to school with those guys at the Hill Academy, like their star players. Obviously, like growing up not knowing them, you hate them. You hate them and you want to beat them, and you don't get along on the floor. But then getting to know those guys off the floor, like, hey, they're not so bad. But no, it was a lot of fun. But I give credit to Six Nations minor lacrosse for sure.
Now, who was like one player that you definitely did not like, when you had to play against them, but when they're on your team, you're like, I need them, or I really value their ability?
One player that comes to mind, not necessarily from minor lacrosse, but a guy like Jordan Thurston who doesn't just Jay knows. he scores, he'll let you know about it, and that was playing like junior B when he played for Wallaceburg, but when he came on the aerials, just what do you call him now? back then we called him a beauty, right? But no, he's a great guy to have on your team, but he's a handful on the floor if you're playing against him.
Who's someone on the floor that would always just kind of chirp you because you're a very, very humble person? But like, does anyone ever get under your skin? Does anyone ever just make you want to like actually like maybe like stand up and be like, hey, leave me alone?
Not necessarily like that, but the one guy that got under my skin because he knows he can, so is Randy Stotts. One of my best friends. We were roommates together at Syracuse, played together like all the way up. Kind of like he's been like following me, he'll say. But no, we've been playing together all our lives. But my first professional start, actually, we were playing Georgia when I was with Rochester, and he scored and he let me know about it. And I don't want to say the language on here, but just like I can hear his stupid little voice.
You can just hear it?
Hear it, like, F you, Warren. I'm like, yeah. No, but like, it's like he could say whatever he wants. He scored, right? It's my job to stop him, try my best to stop him. But that's one guy that he knows it too. He can get under my skin, but other guys don't really bug me that much.
What about someone who you play now? Because you are on the Chiefs. So like, who's someone that you would play right now that you maybe you don't, not necessarily you don't want to play against them, or like they're a tough opponent, and you're like, yeah, I know it's game time when they come on the floor.
I think that's anybody. Like I said, like there's so many high players, and it's like cliche, but I think of everybody like with that rivalry we have with Peterborough. Like they're a stacked team. Like you got Hazer and all those guys like that on that team, but that's one you got to bring your A game. Like I looked at Brooklyn's roster right now, so they got a bunch more NLL guys, Austin Shanks, Dawson Thede, teammates of mine, but being teammates, I know what they bring to the table, so those are guys that I want to watch out for. It's going to be, again, kind of like a friendly competitiveness, but we all want that same goal, that Man Cup, right? So I know they're going to bring it, and we're going to try and beat them.
And Jay, who do you think is going to be their biggest competition? I know you already kind of said a little bit, but now that you're seeing a little bit how the season's going, who do you think is going to be the Chiefs' biggest competition?
Chiefs' biggest competition has, in the last 10 years, has always been Peterborough. Peterborough loads up every year. Chiefs load up every year. And I don't want to say MSL is a two-team league, but sometimes that's everybody's waiting to see what happens between the Peterborough and the Chiefs, because that'll dictate a lot of people, and it's even true in Senior B right now, they worry about third and fourth place, not first and second, because you already know who's going to be in first and second. Oftentimes you worry about third and fourth place because that way you're still in the playoffs. Let the top two teams fight it out. Let them kill each other. Let them murder each other. We just want to get in the playoffs. That's the mentality of a lot of teams. I'm not saying it's that at MSL, but I sit back and I know the biggest rivalry in MSL that I've seen is the Chiefs and Peterborough.
So, like, who would you say is going to be, like, next up for them? Because, if it's always Peterborough, there's got to be that third man in. Like, who's the next one up?
As Warren had mentioned, Brooklyn they've loaded up. I took a glimpse at their new signings, and there's probably 6 or 7 NLL guys that they just brought on this week.
Zach Higgins is back playing for them, and then even Oakville moving back up to Senior A after Senior B. So you got Nick Rose in there, who's a great goaltender of the year. Like, he's going to be tough. So I think there's going to be a lot of parity this year, and no, I think it's going to be a good summer. It's going to, especially less games this year. That's the other thing. So we're only playing 12 games right now, and everybody's got to get in at least 6 to be eligible for playoffs. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
So is that kind of how you gear the schedule? Is like basically you have to play your 6 games so that you can play in the playoffs, or like are you going to be in all the games because you have other goalies who can stand in for you?
I think the luxury you have with this league, and a lot of teams are understanding, is like guys are just getting done their winter season and they are banged up, bruised up, and then that last half of the season where there is that fight for positioning for playoffs, for home floor is huge. Home floor is huge, and that's where the first few games you might not see it in the sense of you'll see that disparity. Like obviously, like for better or for worse, like we got 3/4 of our team. We didn't go as far in playoffs. That happens. But as you get to the later part of the season, that's when you'll see the solidified rosters of each team, and that's where it's going to be like. It's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of grittiness, and I'm so excited for it.
And what other teams are you excited for? Of course, you're playing for the Chiefs, but you have like Riverman and you have Tomahawks, you have Grand River Warriors. Like, who else are you following closely? Like all the other teams that are in the senior leagues.
I think obviously it was my first experience, family team. I keep a close eye on the Rivermen. They're close to my heart. Obviously, a couple of Presidents Cup with them, and I'm excited for them. I've seen their roster, been out to a couple of their games, and I think they're going to make some noise and hopefully make a trip to Ladner. Junior C or Senior C, I should say. Sorry, the Tomahawks. Not too familiar with, but that's just life, lacrosse life. Like you can see how I'm dressed. I just came from Paperweight, been at the arena every week. Now we got Chiefs, and so I can't get to every game. But no, I've heard nothing but good things, and then the same thing, nothing but the best for the Warriors, the Grand River Warriors, because that's another kind of family team that started their own thing. But I think that's something that this community needed, was more teams for the senior age groups to play for, and junior. Like we got Johnny Paulus coaching that new, is it Fire?
The Fire, yeah.
Yeah, so the more the better. We got too many great players, good players that go by the wayside just because they don't make the Rebels or the Arrows, or they don't make the Rivermen. Like it's not you're not good enough. It's just a numbers game, unfortunately, is what it comes down to. And I'm glad that our community has so many teams to play from and to go support. It's awesome.
Now, this question's for both of you guys. Like, what would you say that Six Nations kind of needs? Because even though we have all these teams and, we have all these players willing to play and all these different things, but we still don't have enough teams. There are still people who are like waiting to sign up, or we don't have enough like floor time. But what could actually solve a lot of these problems with like all the people wanting to come to Six Nations? I know we could just build one big giant arena, but like what would you say that actually like needs to be done? Like whether it be like let's bring it back to like maybe even if we all just got together in a field again or something like that. Like we don't have the arena for it anymore. Like we don't have enough space for it.
That's funny you bring that up, because it wasn't that long ago, maybe like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I work very closely with Warren's brother Wayne, and we came out of the arena, and Wayne said, "Damn it, we need another arena." So that right off the top of my head, one of these places need to add another pad, honestly, because we have 4 junior teams and 4 senior teams, and not excluding minor, because minor lacrosse has probably 25 teams themselves. So plus we have a women's senior team now. Mm-hmm. So what other center off the top of anybody's head have that many senior teams in one center? And what's our population living in our community? 15,000? Yeah. And we get a lot of players coming from outside the community to play. Our senior leagues aren't under the residential banner where you have to live here to play here. So like the Chiefs have a lot of out-of-town guys, the Rivermen do, Tomahawks do. Grand River Warriors, I think, are pretty close to being probably the most home-based team player-wise. But we have 4 senior teams and 4 junior teams. And it's the same with junior. They all have players from different centers that want to play here. It's like JJ, when he was on with us, he came from Philadelphia to play here. So that speaks volumes. But I think another arena is needed. Another floor space is needed. People have talked about outdoor space, like in Onondaga at the field house. People have talked about that, and there's enough money in the community to do it privately, but I don't know what that would look like as far as renting it and stuff like that. Do we have the dollars communally? I don't know, but more floor time is needed. Like we have to go Hagersville, Caledonia, Brantford for practices sometimes, because there's just our arenas are exhausted as far as overbooking.
Definitely like something that needs to be like fulfilled in the community, because they say like, if you see a problem, like try to solve it. And then like clearly everyone is coming here to play lacrosse. Like when you went to Hill Academy, you could like actually live out there, right?
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to live in like a townhouse with a few other of the guys, and we had our own like dorm don, so to speak. But yeah, and it's tough. Like the Hill Academy, we were going to school out of an arena, and like our classrooms were inside our like an ice pad, like those ice lands that you see now, and they were fighting for space even. But that's just the nature of the beast. Like we're not the only community going through it, right? So it's across the board. Like Jay alluded to, it's money and even the spacing. Like I know, like you said, we need something, because these floor times, it's crazy, and I get it, because obviously like Arrows, Chiefs get priority at certain arenas and stuff like that. But like you said, like something needs to be done, even if it is just another outdoor rink with the roof on top of it. Something, even just for practices, you're scraping your teeth just to get right. So, no, I think kind of what Jay said, like, I think money would solve all, but we'll see.
Yeah, obviously
Yeah.
money would just solve it. It's like, yeah, build the arena. People will come, and they literally would come. Like, I swear to God, if we built an arena and had like a bunch of dorms and said there was a school there and people came here for lacrosse to learn lacrosse, people would probably pay a lot of money to come and learn. So, hey, if someone has some money, go build it, and they will come. You play like professionally as an NLL, and then you just come back, and now you're playing for the Chiefs. Like, doesn't that get exhausting? And at what point do you kind of have to say, I'm going to take a year off? Or can you not take a year off? Is it like, hey, I get maybe 3 months, and then I have to get back on that floor?
Now that I'm getting older, like, it's the rest does come in handy, but also I think, like, not to get down or not, but COVID robbed us of a couple seasons, right? And that's something that we're never going to get back. So honestly, like, I'm right now, as long as I can stay as healthy as I can, that I want to play as much as I can. And it's a good problem to have with me and Dougie playing, so we don't have to play every game. And so that goes a long way, where you're not in week after week or day after day playing, right? So it's a good tandem there that helps out for the summer. But right now my mindset is I just love this game so much. I want to keep playing as long as I can and however many years I can. So rarely do I say no if someone asks me to go play.
Like, when do you say no, though? Because I imagine, like, even like something that's for a podcast, like you said, you just dropped off like your kids and stuff like that. You've been at the arena. Like, how hard is it for you to say no to sometimes for things that when it's like with lacrosse, because you love it so much that it consumes so much of your life?
Like, first and foremost, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the game. I love it. Like, I'm a lacrosse nerd. Like going way back when, like, you see in my room back in the day, sleepover stuff, just lacrosse posters, everything over. So, like, this game has consumed me, and it's something that's a part of me. And like I said, like, if this was for work, yeah, I'm not coming. Sorry, just kidding. Hope you guys aren't watching.
But we all know where you work too.
Yeah, you guys got to cut that out. But no,
we're leaving it in.
No, but no, for real. Like, if it's something to do with lacrosse or helping anybody out, like, I'm for it. And like, it's hard for me to say no if it's something that has to do with this game, helping out friends or family and stuff like that. But I think the only time I say no is like obviously we have like those money tournaments and stuff like that, but no, you can't do it because it's too close to training camp. So we get a nice little breather from, say, however we finish. Maybe we got all of September off, maybe we got half of it, October, then boom, you're right into training camp. And we just got done playing 3 weeks ago, and we're back at it. But that was more than enough time for me. I got the itch, and I think the difference being that we're play every weekend opposed to like an NHL or something where we're night in, then yeah, I could see myself needing a break. But I just love it. I just want to play as long as I can, having fun, and there's nothing better than just like hanging out with the guys in the locker room, stuff like that.
When would you say that, like, it gets too much into your head? Because this was actually one question from the goalie of the Grand River Warriors, Carter. He wanted to know that, like, because you're in, like, the big leagues, as big as it can get as far as lacrosse, and how do you not get emotional, like, if you're down, you know? Like, I think I've asked this before on the show to Justin, but, like, as a goalie, all eyes are on you, and, like, how do you not get emotional in that time when, like, I say, if you're down by, like, 12, or like, you're down by just 5 and you only got like a minute left or something like that, and like, you know, you might not come back, but how do you not get emotional and break down in front of your family and friends?
I could talk about that for hours, but no, it's taken a lot of practice. And I actually reached out to a sports psychologist a few years ago, and she's helped me along the way. Shout out to Beth McCharles, her name was. Fortunate enough and thankful enough that my team was able to provide me that. But no, just learning more about me, right, and what helps me. And one thing is just not to take the game that seriously. One thing I never understood, I remember Roger Weiss, who played for Bandits, all the stuff, my cousin, when we got beat out by Whitby and we were playing for the Arrows and stuff, and basically he said, you guys are too emotional. Like, when we were playing down and letting those little things build up, we never really got it, but looking back now, like, yeah, I get it now. Like, we were, like, there's a saying that they say, Stu Montour always says it, is play with emotion, not emotional. So that's something that I've had to learn to take after heart. And the big thing about being goalie is, again, not letting that other team kind of pick up on you being frustrated, because it just fuels their fire and it makes your job a lot harder. A good goalie that's great at that is Dylan Ward. If you ever see him, he just chills on the back of his net like that, and whether he just let it in or if they're losing or winning, he's the same way the whole time. Dougie's another one. You can't tell if he's pissed off or if he's having the best day ever, and that's something that I've had to work on and something I try to do, and it goes a long way. And again, like, it's cliche to say, but it is just a game, and that's something that I have to remind myself: just play. Don't matter what's happening, not think too far in the future, not too far back in the past. Just stay in the moment and do what you can. It's not the end of the world if you let a goal in, but be ready for that next one.
You've come a long way, because I remember, like, we can go back to Hagersville days, sitting at, like, let's talk about, you know how we would always have breakfast in the morning and stuff like that, and you would always have your homework, and you'd be, like, right deep in your homework, making sure you got everything done. And we'd always tell you, like, oh, it's not going to be the end of the world if, like, you didn't do your homework or something like that. And you're like, no. You'd be, like, so flustered that you had to do it. And now you're just, like, so calm. Like, it's like it's just a game. It's not, like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and it just, again, I think everything, like, that approach in life goes a long way, right? And just kind of the work that I do and the training and the different education, like, basically just relax. It'll work out. And that's the approach I take to the game and in life.
Yeah, and it's definitely working for you, because, oh, man, I have so many stories, man. I remember waking up at your house and you'd be just doing push-ups. It'd be like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like, what is this guy doing? Doing push-ups. It's like, go to sleep. No, I got lacrosse practice in like 3 hours. It's like, what? Go to sleep.
No, that was, again, I think I'm very, what's the word? Like, I guess OCD. I can be. That's something that I have to work on. Like, I don't know. That's just something that drove me, and like just having that goal of going to school. And I actually, like, on the drive here, I thought about that conversation. Like, you were into music producing and stuff, and I wanted to do the lacrosse thing, and that's just something that I had, like, I wanted to do since I was little, growing up and seeing like the magazines, and you hear stories about the guys around here, like my uncles or Jammer, Sid Smith, guys like that, and that's something that I wanted to do. So that was a goal of mine, and I just went about it the best way I knew how, and that was, I guess at that time, do push-ups at 6 a.m. But not doing that too much these days. But no, I just did whatever I could to get to that next stage.
Yeah, man, you really did it. Like, you were dedicated, and I still remember, like, grade 10. Like, remember, I don't know, it was like Photoshop class, whatever the thing is, and I made you that #1 goalie picture, and I got you to sign it for me. Like, I knew you were gonna be like the #1 goalie in the league. Like, before you even played for the Arrows, before, I think you weren't even an intermediate. I don't know what we were in at the time, but like, I was just like, this guy's dedicated. You're good, and nothing is going to get in your way, because you were just, like, no matter what, like, and we're all your friends. We're all cheering you on. But at the same time, we're like, come on, Warren, like, have fun with us. But you're like, nope, I'm going to, like, you're going to do lacrosse. So I was just like, yo, this guy's going to be the best one day. And here you are.
Thanks for that. And no, my parents, when Cheryl and Hibby wouldn't let me have any fun back then either. So I wasn't allowed out of the house, so I guess, no, just the only thing to do was just play lacrosse and video games, hang out with friends and stuff like that. And no, I give a big shout out to my parents for doing what they did and kept us on that right path for my brother and I and things of that. But no, again, like, kind of like just that message, not to be all preachy or motivational here, but no, if you got a kind of a goal or something in mind, doesn't got to be sports, could be music, could be science, could be art, what have you, music. Just might as well just try and give her and go at it.
Yeah, just fucking do it. Now, we got to get into lacrosse, like how it is right now. You are the general manager of the Riverman.
Six Nations Riverman, yeah.
Now, how are the Rivermen doing?
We had a 2-week break. It was probably a good thing. Like Warren had said, sometimes you need a rest. You get banged up, beat up. We had a pretty good run there. we had a 2-week break. We're going to Owen Sound on Saturday. Riverman are looking good. During that 2 weeks, the guys have rested. New players have come in. It's a nice problem to have the talent that we have out. The downfall is I have to make room. So unfortunately, some guys may not be with us in the next couple of weeks, but it's business. Like a lot of these guys are my friends, or in this case, I've known Warren and Wayne since they were little. Guys that I know as well as I know them may have to be let go. It's nothing personal. It's business. So, I mean, I anticipate they're going to be mad and probably mad at me for a while, but that's the part of the job, and I knew it was coming. So
I'm in the same boat as you. I haven't had to pick my paperweight team with a bunch of 5, 6, 7-year-olds. I don't envy. I don't know
Just
how you
gonna
guys
go
do
and
it.
break their heart like that?
I don't know. It's a tough job, and like I commend the GMs, and that's actually something that whether I'm done playing or not, like that's actually a role that I wouldn't mind trying out. Like I don't know if you guys can hear me talk. Like I can't get my point across always, but in my head, like if you give me a piece of paper, I can lay it out for you.
well, and I'm glad to hear that you're with the paperweight squad, because I remember having the same issue in paperweight, and especially when you get your son's friends, and some of them may not be on the team. Mm-hmm. Are they going to not like your son? Are they going to not like you? Definitely parents are going to be mad, but that's the nature of the beast. Like I told one parent before, because they were blowing up my phone because I had to let their son go, and it got to the point where they were showing up at my assistant coach's houses, and they're like, nobody even likes you anyways. I said, well, I'm not coaching to make friends. I'm trying to guide these little ones. And at the end of the day, when I see guys in the NLL now, and some of them I've had the privilege to be on the bench with, like the players put in the work. I've told every team that I've been with, you guys are the vessel. I get to steer sometimes. I might have 1 or 2% credit I can take for guys getting to the show, but it's the players that got themselves there with their work ethic, grinding away, 6 a.m. push-ups, stuff like that. That is what got you guys there. Maybe some guidance from this coach or that coach, and it's very humbling to see so many guys in the NLL that I was on a bench with, and I pat them on the back, because some of those guys, when they were younger, were like, yeah, you're not going anywhere. You're going to be sitting at home eating 5 bags of chips, playing video games, or on the internet surfing for a date at like 4 a.m. But some of them turned it around, and they're there.
I want to say it's all about balance. We were those kids staying up till 6 a.m., eating potato chips, playing video games, but it's
Playing
balance.
Halo 3?
Halo 3 all night. Shout out to Spuds.
Oh, yeah, man.
I still have a video game console right now that plays Super Nintendo and Nintendo. Nintendo and Super Nintendo video games. That is as high technology as I got in my house.
What would you say, like, when it comes to, like, the NLL and stuff like that? Let's say if you don't make a team, well, you're going to make the team, but let's say if you didn't, like, do you ever just look at the other goalies and be like, man, I'm better than them? Did you ever, like, let that affect you or affect your game at all?
Not necessarily, but like no, it hasn't been a smooth ride for me. Like truthfully, like I was drafted by Georgia Swarm, spent 2 years on their practice roster, so that meant I was just a warm-up goalie, taking shots, and I was fortunate enough to play for the ALL team, the Snipers, down here for 2 or 3 seasons. Next thing you know, I didn't get re-signed by Georgia, so the next team that called was New England Black Wolves. Went to their tryout, lasted 1 weekend, got cut. That Monday, after we got back, got the call from their GM, sorry, hey, like it's not going to work out, or best of luck, we're sticking with these 2 other guys. All right. Obviously, like you said, you're pissed off, wondering what you can improve on. But for my case, I was fortunate enough to get another offer laid out, even that's turned into Rochester. But no, having the door slammed in your face and you said no, it's a part of life. And again, just learning moments to not like back down or just give up, right? Like you got to just keep going. And I think that's, again, coming full circle to this game of lacrosse. Like you're not going to win every game. Things aren't going to go your way, but you don't quit just because things aren't going your way. And that, again, that's something that I think everyone could take home.
what about going into like a tryout or going into like play for a team and you can already tell it's not going to work out, but like you were assigned this team, like you come into a team and you're like, okay, it's not working out with the coach. I don't really like the team, the management, whatever it may be, or the system that they're playing in, but this is where I'm put. Like, have you ever had a situation like that, or maybe just a feeling during a season where it kind of felt like that?
I've been fortunate enough to, like, my experience, I'll say that, like, I have been fortunate. Like, I've had some great coaches and management and stuff, and that has not been an issue with me. But when that time comes, or if it ever does come, I imagine it'll be awkward. But no, when you get to a certain age, you got to think about yourself and your family and stuff like that, right? So now that we're playing professional, it is a numbers game, and you want to do what's right for you and your family, right? Like, again, coming back to you throwing money into the situation, because now, say if my contract was up, Halifax is only a couple hours away. That's great, but like, heaven forbid if they didn't want me back and I had to look for a new team. The things that I got to consider now is, okay, like how short is the drive or flight? Am I going to be missing work? And what is the dollar? Like, is it worth it? Say if, like, again, hypothetical, say if Vancouver called, I'm not flying out, or I'm not living out in Vancouver like younger guys would, but if they were to call and give me an opportunity, is it worth it in the sense of, is it worth it to miss all day Friday, to leave, travel, fly out there, play? You're missing your whole weekend basically, and you're back to work Monday. And those dollars got to be worth it because you're bringing home something, just the same way our iron workers did back in the day, right? So that sacrifice and those benefits are all things you got to take into account. And also, too, like, life's too short to be somewhere you don't want to be and people you don't get along with, whether that's work or sports team or whatever, right? So all those things are your own decisions as you get older.
There's a lot more to actually consider because, like, of course, you don't want to miss out on your family time. It's just as much as, like, the income that you have to provide for your family. And then, like, even thinking about, like, let's get back into the Six Nations sports. Like, who do you think right now, let's go back to the Rivermen, actually. On the Rivermen, who do you think might be ready to move up to the Chiefs? Or from the Chiefs, who do you think might be moving down to the Rivermen without making some shots fired?
Randy Stotts, Lyle Thompson, they can all move down. Brandon
there it is.
Bomberg, they can move down.
Oh, it'll be a stacked Rivermen team.
We are short righties, so it's,
He just throws all the good players under the bus. Well, they're all good, but
Tyson Bill, he can move down too. Brad Cree, we just got him. He can move down too. No, I need those guys up there. But no, like, guys that can move up, like, no, like, Riverman is a great feeder system. The one fella that I'm excited for to see progress, he just came back from Syracuse.
Greg Elijah Brown.
Yeah, he had a good President's Cup last year from what I saw. And there's a few other guys, and I think they're on their way. Another guy that came back down was Jerry Stotts, but he's right up there, and he's going to be with the Chiefs sooner than later or some other senior A team. Like, he's another good defenseman, young guy, so I'm excited for those fellas.
And who do you think? Because you have some say in that.
I have a pretty good working relationship with the GM of the Chiefs, Dwayne Jacobs. I know him outside of Lacrosse. A good friend. He's been a good friend for years. Guys that could move up. I know that there's a log jam as far as player movement back and forth. Talked to Dewey. He said he's pretty set. Guys he could pull up again. Jerry knows the Chiefs systems because he's played there. It would be good to see Greg move up. They called up Rossi Hill for the season opener. Had a good game. We had, I think, a goal and 4 assists. Durston played there for a while. And you're right, Durston does chirp a lot, but when you're on the same team as him, it's hilarious.
Yes.
So I can imagine what it's like when you're on the receiving end of it. My own son Lane, he's had a cup of coffee with the Chiefs more than once. He's been called up. A player like, we'll say Craig Atwood, he's fast. He can play both ends of the floor. He doesn't necessarily like to go up the offense, but he's fast enough that he's a good tranny guy. Very, 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 very great with a wooden stick, to the point where, and I've said it to him, and I'll say it again, Craig, that might hinder him moving up because he's not used to playing with a plastic stick. So when you get up to those higher levels, a wooden stick may not be allowed. And there's been talk of him maybe APing once in a while, but there's other guys that came in, Caden Brennan and Zane Delpy. The Chiefs have already used them. They're great players, out of town boys. So yeah, the Rivermen for a lot of guys is the place that they want to be to try to have that opportunity to get called up to the Chiefs. And I was in conversation with Dewey today. He's sending me somebody for conditioning. We're going to gladly welcome him, of course, because the kid's a great player, but he's coming off an injury. So sending him to us for conditioning, and don't know if I'll let him go back up.
Growing up, I know that actually, this is a good question. Shout out to Joe Martin. This question comes from Joe Martin. Growing up, who did you look up to playing sports? We know that you have a lot of legends in your family, but who did you really look up to?
I think first one that comes to mind is Ben Venevri. All those Arrows teams, him and Grant Crawley, right, holding it down. Those were our idols growing up. They're a few years older than us, but when the Arrows back then were running show in the Ontario circuit.
That's literally that's what I remember. I remember going. I don't know if I went with you, but I remember going to the fair or a bread and cheese or something like that, and then going to the Arrows game after. And the one year it was so packed, and it was around that time when Ben was a goalie and Cody Jamison and the Arrows were just on fire. They had those new posters up in the ILA and all that stuff.
And that's what lit the fire under. Holy heck, this is what we want to do. This is where we want to be. Like you said, Jake, you probably remember when the Arrows used to have, just to get to the arena, there'd be a lineup right on to, what is that, Onondaga, Tuscarora? One of those side roads, and then they'd be in playoffs and taking 2 or 3 coach buses to go watch, filling those up. But back then, that was it. That's where you wanted to be. So I remember those guys, and then also a guy who was older than them at the professional ranks was Ken Montour, Monster. Another great guy, and I know I was jealous of those kids that got to be. He was their teacher at IL, right? He used to teach there, but no, he was another good guy, and that always took the time to kind of spread his knowledge out. And if I had any questions, any young kid had questions, because I was fortunate enough to be ball boys. Again, kind of that rite of passage, lacrosse players. You're always a ball boy. You're hanging around the teams, or you see them out in the community, and at that time they're the superstars, but you're just in awe. But no, those are 2 or 3 guys that I looked up to growing up.
Yeah, those were definitely the days. That's what I wanted to get back to on Six Nations, is when everyone went to the arena, and I mean it was packed. That's what I wanted to get back to. And even when when I can't remember where exactly what year it was, but when they came back from the Minto Cup, and everyone was lined up in front of the Speedway, and there was this everyone was honking, everyone was cheering, and it was off of a movie or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's sports brings communities together, right? And no, that was a big thing, and that was really prideful. You felt that. You seen orange and purple everywhere way back then, and I still think we're like that today. We got a lot more teams, but no, there's nothing better, especially when playoffs come around, when championships come around. And the Rebels, when they were going through their run, then you seen red and black, or orange and black everywhere. When Stu was coaching those teams, their 5-6 year run there, running show. So no, we got a strong lacrosse community, and this community gets behind our teams 100%.
Yeah, this community is definitely crazy when it comes to lacrosse. And what would you say that you would want to bring to Six Nations when it comes to lacrosse? Because the Man Cup could be coming here. You're going to be on the Chiefs, or you are on the Chiefs, but they could have the Man Cup here. What would you say that could be a big moment? Something that could top a moment like that. How everyone was gathered in front of the Schweigen Speedway, and all those buses rolled up. What kind of moment would you like to recreate, or a new vibe or something like that?
No, you said it. Man Cup. Man Cup is our mission right now. It's our goal. And we were in New West last year playing. That has by far been the best lacrosse experience I've ever had. Playing on that old wooden floor. You hear stories about it, but just to look around and see a packed arena, it's hot, it's sweaty. The fans are kind of ruthless, but then you have our change section with the Squamish Nation and the Native people out there in BC supporting us, and that be an NLL game by far. Just because it was so like intimate and in the moment. And I've been to Man Cup games here when the Chiefs did have them, and again, just kind of sparking that. This is what I want to do. I want this. So I know we all have that in the back of our minds, and I think it'd be cool to host a Man Cup down here and to see a pack arena come September time. So that's our goal right now. And anytime our community can host a national championship, whether that be President's Cup, Founders Cup, Minto Cup, like just to see the community come together, play in front of your friends and family, that makes it a little bit more special, a little bit different, and more close to your heart than a professional team or your college team or whatever like that. So anytime that you can represent your home community, there's nothing better.
Yeah, that's for sure what we need. And we're going to need another arena for that, because we're going to need to pack that thing out. And we have so many teams coming out, and so many people coming to Six Nations to want to learn to play lacrosse, the creators game. And we definitely need another arena. So I want to thank you for coming on the show. This is episode 3 of the Creators Game podcast. And thanks, everybody.
Anytime.
Yeah, thanks for having me.